it has begun. The villain war has officially started. Also, this resurrection festival with Easter Sunday right around the corner? Coincidence? I think not. Looks like he might not be the only one that's risen. Okay, just kidding, but still, I really do want this prison break arc. What's up, it's Truth Hero, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter review. Today, we'll be discussing Boku no Hero Academia chapter 224 of the manga. We'll be looking at everything from Twice's character to Shigaraki's plan in this upcoming battle and Gigantomachia, as well as the Special Abilities Liberation Army and all their dastardly dealings. Let's dive in. The first thing we're going to talk about is Twice's character, because he's very peculiar in this chapter. Except for when the League of Villains is planning their attack on the Liberation Army, Twice speaks perfectly fine. There's no double talk, there's no split personality. Apparently, when the discussion is about Giran, Broker, or any of Twice's friends, he speaks normally. I don't know, I guess it shows that the power of friendship in anime is so strong that it can even cure a multiple personality disorder. Twice is someone who is extremely loyal to his friends. We know this. Even the other members of the League of Villains have commented on this, but perhaps this loyalty could actually open the door for future character development from Twice, as we know his backstory, but maybe we can dive deeper into his motivations with the League of Villains, especially if they end up finding Giran. Speaking of our broker friend Giran, why is the League of Villains doing so much for Giran? I mean, I get that they're friends, but why be so reckless? Well, this ultimately comes down to Twice's goals being different from some of the other members. Twice truly desires a group where he can belong and someplace that he can feel whole. Literally, he doesn't want to split in two. And Giran is the one that introduced him to the League of Villains. He's the one that gave him peace of mind and gave him this group, gave him this family of villains. So, if I was Twice or any of the other members that were introduced to the League by Giran, I would do the same thing. Looking at you, Dabi and Toga. So, we find out that the League of Villains will in fact go after the Liberation Army. No problem, right? They have tons of high-end Nomu at their disposal. Actually, the high-end Nomu aren't ready for their testing phase. These children aren't grown up yet. So creepy. But actually, these Nomu could in fact literally be made out of children. You know the chan or chan at the end of their names? Well, in Japanese, that can sometimes be used to denote a child. Think about it. All these Nomu have affectionate nicknames, like Hood-chan. The high-end Nomu that was referenced here was the Nomu that fought Endeavor. Or, how could you ever forget about John-chan? I still have nightmares. As mentioned, Dabi couldn't recover one of the bodies of these children, Hood-chan, and without All for One being there, the Nomu production has been quite slow. I honestly hope that Horikoshi dives into how exactly these Nomu are made, because that would make My Hero Academia very dark, especially if that chan actually means children. Now on to Shigaraki's plan against the Liberation Army, and this thing is brilliant. But before jumping into the genius of this plan, let's first discuss Gigantomachia as we learn some new information about him. So, Shigaraki discovers that with Machia, it's not that he's invincible, but rather, he just has crazy amounts of stamina. Or as Shigaraki puts it, HP. And I love this. I love the video game references, because the fight between the League of Villains and Machia has always reminded me of fighting SNORLAX from Pokemon, attacking it, and then it using rest to fully heal its HP again, and again, and again. And also, SNORLAX attacking in its sleep, as Gigantomachia can actually hear people if they attack him in his sleep and counter them. This is a genius idea by Shigaraki to attack the Special Abilities Liberation Army and Gigantomachia. This way, the League of Villains can not only eliminate their competition in the army by using the giant to crush them, but also tame the gorilla. Now, the only point of concern here might be the fact that Gigantomachia is actually fixated on Shigaraki since he is the future king. So, what if Gigantomachia actually ignores the Liberation Army and only goes after Shigaraki? Who knows what will happen? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. How will this battle pan out once Machia arrives? The other curious thing about this plan is that the Doctor, along with John-chan, is in charge of warping Gigantomachia to the League of Villains. Now, this is weird because they're doing it after he wakes up, meaning that they're letting him regain his stamina and sleep. Which begs the question, does the League of Villains really want to do this? If they actually want to tame Gigantomachia, why not wake him up right now and not give him a chance to rest? The only thing I can think of is that maybe they can sort of control him for the meantime and find a way to direct his attacks to the Liberation Army, which in that case, you'd want him at full strength, but very peculiar. I really love that Shigaraki's just going for it, that he's just going to charge into battle with the Liberation Army. He does not give two craps about them or how strong they might be. This also offers an opportunity for Spinner and maybe even Dabi, since he's kind of aloof, to see that Shigaraki truly does deserve their fellowship, that the future king is worthy of praise and loyalty. Also, I don't really think that Shigaraki is cheating here. The Doctor mentions that you have not tamed Gigantomachia yet, and now you're bringing him to a fight. But Shigaraki is not All for One. The villains of All for One and the heroes of All Might, their generation is gone. It's not about brute force anymore. I like that Shigaraki is being clever, and in fact, it actually shows more growth on his part because he understands the situation and how he can exploit it, and who exploits things better than villains. On to the Special Abilities Liberation Army, who apparently have heroes working for them. Yeah! Slip and slide, you scumbag traitor. Hope you slip and die. This professional hero, whose name is actually Slide and Go, was just congratulating Shoto and Bakugo for defeating Soda Boy, but he's also serving as the guide for the League of Villains in meeting the Liberation Army. This means that the pair of them, Bakugo and Shoto, could be right in the middle of the commotion that's about to go down in Deika City. Also, a note on Soda Boy. He was wearing the gauntlets, which were lifestyle support items from Detonarat Co. In my mind, this means that this guy is definitely one of the soldiers from the Liberation Army. While we're on the topic, Deika City, a liberated area. A city where 90% of the residents are either working for or are soldiers in the Liberation Army. The villains definitely have 100,000 plus soldiers at their disposal, and it looks like liberation has already begun because they have Deika City, but it looks like their plan is a slow takeover. They'll get cities in the countryside to comply with them, maybe appealing to people that are disenfranchised like Spinner's condition, and then slowly work their way up, gaining followers until they can attack a major city or gain a foothold there. We'll get to see more of the Resurrection Festival and the rituals that this entails in the next chapters, but this is the coming out party for the Liberation Army. And what better way to celebrate than by eliminating the League of Villains and cementing their position as the #1 villain group. If you notice, there are two panels in the manga that actually highlight the fact that there are cameras everywhere in Deika City. Now, this could just be data gathering like the lifestyle support items, but I have a feeling it's for a grander purpose. Perhaps the Liberation Army wants to broadcast this battle. Maybe not to the general public because they don't want to give their identities away, but what if it's broadcasting to the underworld, and this is the Liberation Army saying, we're here now, we're the top villains, and we are the best. Watch out for the Liberation Army. Not too much to be said after this, we're just all anticipating this battle that's about to go down, but the League of Villains has to make their way to a tower in order to save Giran. Huh. Where have I seen that before? A bit unrelated, I know, but if you haven't seen Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, you're missing out. Also, did you guys notice that the tower holding the supreme leader of the Liberation Army is also in the shape of an L? I love that Toga's getting an adversary, or at least a temporary antagonist, in the Shueisha executive lady, Kazuki Chitose. Also, I wonder, is Kazuki's quirk simply to look at the ground and have it explode, just like this? Because that would be rather OP. As always, thanks for watching. My final thoughts on this chapter are, well, we just need more. But until then, let's continue that discussion down below in the comments. What do you guys think some of the quirks will be for the high-ranking members of the Liberation Army? What will happen when Machia shows up to this fight? And between the League of Villains and the Liberation Army, who will lose the first member? Until next time, plus ultra.